Multiple devices එකවර connect කළ හැකි. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber. Multiple devices එකවර connect කළ හැකි. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
Tonight, the Flying Squad. India's Foreign Secretary heads a high-level delegation to Colombo for talks on further assistance. Real issues. With hospitals reporting essential drug shortages, the Government Medical Officers Forum says testing consumables is the true problem. Big questions. Former envoy reveals the government's ignoring of the Russian option for cheaper fuel and hundreds of millions of dollars in unused financial assistance. Stepping up to the plate, the apparel and rubber industries take the lead by pledging an early conversion of export proceeds to fund essentials.
Members will convert their export receipts ahead of the legal requirements. We then collate this information and coordinate these conversions with the authorities.
All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Thursday, the 23rd of June, 2022.
Best ever sunlight. Dan රුපියල් 200ක best ever මිලකට.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, you're watching First at 9 with me, David Ebert. Now, India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today after arriving in India Island for talks on assistance to Sri Lanka. Heading a delegation including senior Indian finance and foreign affairs officials, Kwatra has pledged continued assistance to help Sri Lanka get through its dual crises. The delegation also held discussions with senior Sri Lankan officials on the economic situation and on short and long-term assistance requirements.
India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra arrived in the island today, heading a 4-member delegation for a one-day visit for bilateral talks on Indian assistance to Sri Lanka for the ongoing economic crisis. Accordingly, he met with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. The delegation comprises Secretary of the Department of Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Finance of India, Ajay Seth, Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India, Dr. V. Anantha Nageswaran, and Joint Secretary of the Indian Ocean Region of the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, Karthik Pandey. At the meeting with PM Wickremesinghe, the delegation had pledged continued support and assistance to the people of Sri Lanka. The delegation is also expected to also hold discussions with senior Sri Lankan officials on the economic situation and long and short-term assistance requirements. Meanwhile, India's Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs Nirmala Sitharaman, during a meeting with Sri Lanka's High Commissioner of New Delhi, Milinda Moragoda, has assured her full support and cooperation towards Sri Lanka's economic recovery. This was the latest of a series of meetings with High Commissioner Moragoda has had with the Minister Sitharaman on Indian economic cooperation and assistance to Sri Lanka. During the meeting, Moragoda had expressed the government's gratitude to Minister Sitharaman for India's continued assistance, particularly for the expeditious arrangement of a $55 million line of credit on the 10th of June to import 65,000 metric tons of urea required for the Yalla season. Early in the day, High Commissioner Moragoda also met with India's External Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to discuss the way forward with Indian assistance to stabilize and recover Sri Lanka's ailing economy.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe announced plans to organize a credit aid conference involving India, Japan and China. Taking to Twitter last night, he explained that work would need to be done on arriving at a general consensus on the process of lending to Sri Lanka between the three nations. Further, the Prime Minister also took aim at the parliamentary boycott by the Samagi Janabalvegya and the National People's Power, which he said would delay the process of passing the 21st Amendment to the Constitution through Parliament.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe took to Twitter last night to explain the measures that he has taken to ease the country's economic woes. The Premier started off by responding to criticism of his bi-weekly economic updates, of that has drawn flank by the opposition for only focusing on the issues and not solutions. He explained that his first step would be to arrive at an IMF agreement in order to obtain an additional credit facility and next to go for an immediate program to stabilize the economy and increased export revenue. He explained that a plan has been formulated by the central bank and the treasury in this regard. He also repeated his invitation to the country's opposition political parties to come forward with any alternative plans to overcome the crisis. The Prime Minister also revealed plans to organize a credit aid conference including India, Japan and China. He added that this would be done by resolving past conflicts and disagreements, fostering friendly relations once again and arriving at a general consensus between the three nations on the process of lending to Sri Lanka. Further, the Premier also took aim at the current parliamentary boycott by the Samagi Janabalawegaya and the National People's Power, which he said would delay the process of passing the 21st Amendment to the Constitution through Parliament. In addition, the Prime Minister also revealed that a report on the proposed parliamentary committee system prepared by former Speaker Karu Jayasuriya has been received, and he urged the SJB and the NPP to attend Parliament in order to finalise the proposal. Speaking on the power and gas issue, the Premier added that while power cuts have been reduced, he also expects to eliminate the LP gas shortage soon through the purchase of a stock of 7 million LP gas cylinders using a $70 million World Bank loan and a $20 million from the Treasury. However, resolving the fuel shortage is stated would take time due to difficulties in securing the monthly fund requirements of $550 million. The Premier also stated that Sri Lanka needs a strong economic foundation before elections can be held. Once this has been established, he said, the people could elect 225 parliamentarians of their choice. In conclusion, he stated that the world will only assist Sri Lanka if the country displays a strong urge and dedication to rebuild and not if parties engage in acts of sabotage.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also held discussions with the Deputy Ambassador of China, Hu Wei, on Tuesday, where he communicated Sri Lanka's continued commitment to adhering to China's One China policy. Discussions had also focused on the restructuring of Sri Lanka's Chinese debt, a subject that the Chinese government is not so keen on addressing due to concerns that it may have to do the same with its other international debtors.
Last Tuesday, China's Deputy Ambassador Hu Wei met with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe for a discussion on current economic issues. During the discussion, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe had communicated Sri Lanka's continued commitment to adhering to China's One China policy, a subject that continues to be controversial in relation to the issue of Taiwan. Sri Lanka has historically been one of the first countries to recognize the People's Republic of China's sole sovereignty over the island of Taiwan. In addition, the discussion between the Premier and the Deputy Ambassador Hu focused on the restructuring of Sri Lanka's Chinese debt, an issue that has not received a positive response from the Chinese government. China's stance on the issue has been the view that preferential treatment given to Sri Lanka's debt would set a precedent for its other international loans given to other nations. Doing so for Sri Lanka would leave the door open for its other debtors to expect the same. A key factor in the success of Sri Lanka's IMF discussions, however, remain the government's ability to come to an agreement with China on its debts. The Deputy Ambassador has assured China's full support to help alleviate Sri Lanka's food crisis and had also pledged more donations of rice in the near future.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's office issued a statement today expressing gratitude to the Joint Apparel Association Forum and the Sri Lanka Association of Manufacturers and Exporters of Rubber Products for taking measures to expedite the conversion of residual export proceedings before the legally prescribed time of 1 month and 7 days. The Prime Minister's office, while thanking the associations, also requested other export industries to follow in their footsteps and help the country out during this crucial juncture.
For months now, Sri Lanka's authorities have been struggling to secure US dollars to supply the country's populace with essentials such as medicine, fuel and food. Apart from the measures taken by the government and the central bank to source dollars, the Joint Apparel Association Forum and the Sri Lanka Association of Manufacturers and Exporters of Rubber Products have also taken measures to assist the country by expediting the conversion of export proceedings. The Prime Minister's office today issued a statement announcing that the two associations had come forward to support the government's efforts to directly surrendering export proceedings to the government to clear ships arriving with diesel, petroleum and gas. The Prime Minister's office said that the two sectors that brings in over $6.5 billion annually have engaged its members to facilitate many transactions when requested by the government. The Premier's office then expressed its gratitude to the two associations and its members for their support and has asked the rest of the export community to follow suit with similar initiatives. What this means is that with the decision by the two associations, their members will be converting their dollar payments through banks before the deadline stipulated by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank. In October last year, the Monetary Board issued an extraordinary gazette making it mandatory for export proceeds to be converted on or before the 7th day of the next month. Speaking to AdaDerana English News, the associations explained how this will happen.
Members will convert their export receipts ahead of their own requirements and also ahead of the legal requirement to convert by the 7th day of the following month. We then collate this information and coordinate these conversions with the authorities so that within the banking system, the funds can then be allocated to the urgent needs of the country. So what this does is it brings the money, the conversions ahead of schedule, and it also coordinates it with the authorities so that there is advanced information of what's being converted where, and they can then take these monies within the banking system, within their network, and allocate it directly to open LCs or make the payments for the essential services. That conversions are normally done as companies need them, or if they're not converted, then they're converted on the 7th day of the following month. So this bringing it together, coordinating it, and also connecting that back with the authorities, with Treasury and Central Bank, so that then the Central Bank is aware of what monies are being converted at each bank, and then they coordinate that to make sure that it's directed into Central Bank within the banking system so they can then make the payments.
What we are right now supporting on this particular acknowledgement by government is that currently there is a lot of demand for dollars to pay essential services such as fuel and gas. So for those shipments, when the ship arrives, government, if they wait to pay, they accumulate demurrage and other costs. So what they request from our trade have been for companies to cash in dollars whatever they have in the bank account immediately with the intention of clearing the ships so that the public gets the essential services into their hands very fast. So for the last few months, our members who have been requested for cashing in dollars collectively, we have been helping out in that sense when the government asks us to support to clear a particular oil shipment or a gas shipment.
Meanwhile, Litrogas chairman Mudira Piris has stated that the first two cargoes of the 100,000 metric ton LP gas order from Oman is expected to arrive between the 6th and the 12th of July. He added that the two consignments totaling over 7,000 metric tons will be used for domestic cylinder distribution and fulfill LPG needs of essential services. In the meantime, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that the Octane 92 petrol shipment expected to arrive in Sri Lanka today has been delayed by 1 day. Accordingly, a limited distribution of petrol will happen both today and tomorrow.
Sri Lanka continues to grapple with fuel shortages and miles-long fuel queues until the arrival of the next fuel shipment. According to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, the issue cannot be resolved soon due to the lack of dollars to pay its monthly fuel bill. So far, the shortage has already affected most sectors of the country, including essential services. In Anuradhapura, the divisional hospitals in Galnava and Kalaweva and the MOH office in Galnava remain closed during the day due to the inability of staff to report to work. In this backdrop, a 92-octane petrol shipment was expected to arrive in Colombo today along with the diesel of shipment tomorrow. However, taking to Twitter today, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara stated that the 40,000 metric ton shipment of 92-octane petrol that was expected to arrive this morning has been delayed by 1 day. With that being the case, the minister stated that a limited amount of petrol will be distributed today and tomorrow island-wide. He also said that super diesel too will be distributed in limited quantities. However, auto diesel will be distributed at fuel capacity. In the meantime, the Minister of Power and Energy says that hoarding of fuel is contributing to an artificial rise in fuel demand. The fuel hoarding being made a punishable offence, law enforcement authorities continue to carry out raids to nab fuel racketeers. In Makumara in Kottava, 1,400 litres of diesel was seized in a vehicle repair centre and one suspect was taken into custody by the police. In the southern province, a raid carried out by the Kosgoda police has led to the seizure of 1,200 litres of diesel and 120 litres of petrol from a residence owned by a businessman in Gonavela Gaul. Further, 320 litres of diesel was discovered in Meergama with one suspect taken into custody. On the gas situation, Litrogas chairman Mudira Piris announced today that first two shipments of the 100,000 LP gas order are expected to arrive in Sri Lanka between the 6th and the 12th of July. Both consignments are expected to consist around 7,000 metric tons of gas. The Litro chairman added that these two consignments will be used for both domestic cylinder distribution and for essential services.
And we'll be back with more news after this short break. Do stay with us.
3.
Welcome back. The President of the Government Medical Officers Forum, Dr. Rukshan Bellana, says that the government's prioritization of procuring essential medicinal drugs only has led to the complete neglect of the requirements of laboratory services in the country. Dr. Bellana added that the government has currently defaulted on payments amounting to 18 billion rupees to suppliers of medical equipment, which has affected the procurement and supply of medical equipment.
Amongst the shortage of many things in the country are a host of essential medications required to treat patients. However, Minister of Health Keheliya Ramukwala, taking to Twitter yesterday, said that from a total of 654 identified essential medicines, only 49 are low in stock, but assured that measures are being taken to lower that figure. However, with priority given currently to the procurement of various medications and to meet the requirements of the pharmaceutical industry, President of the Government Medical Officers Forum says that the laboratories have been left high and dry.
For the past few months, the healthcare system had concentrated and given more emphasis on the shortages of drugs, which have resulted in some sort of solutions that have come to effect, especially with regard to when you look at the Indian credit line, payments have been done through that to Indian suppliers, and through that the payments have been done. More drug supplies have arrived in Sri Lanka, and as a result, I think we have to trust the government and the Minister of Health, where they clearly say we are going through the worst period right now, but after August we will be recovering slowly and gradually, and for about another 1 year the drug shortage will not be so bad as per the statement given by the health minister. But the worst thing is that the government has neglected and lost its focus on the laboratory services. Laboratory services is very important actually when it comes to screening of diseases, diagnosing diseases, treatment of diseases, and even sometimes to evaluate the post-treatment condition. So with all that, the government has actually so far defaulted payments to these suppliers of equipment and laboratory equipment who are waiting till their payment of 18 billion rupees are given to them. Without this payment, they will struggle to give a sustainable supply to the government. If the government doesn't take serious note of this situation, in the future, in the very near future, we might not have a simple test.
In the meantime, apart from the direct effects of the economic crisis to the country are other impacts such as malnutrition that has begun taking its effect on the populace. According to UNICEF, Sri Lanka has been ranked as the second in the South Asian region and the 7th in the world for malnutrition. With this being the case, the Government Medical Officers Association submitted 5 proposals to the government today on what could be done to reduce the impact of malnutrition. Among them, the GMOA called for the government to strengthen and encourage home-growing efforts and also called on the government to carry out a survey across the country to gauge the nutrition levels of children.
නිවැරදි සමීක්ෂණයක් රටපුරා හරියාකාරයට සෞඛ්‍ය වෛද්‍ය නිලධාරීන් කාර්යාල ඔස්සේ සිදු කර ගනිමින් දරුවන්ගේ මන්ද පෝෂණ තත්ත්වය කොයි ආකාරයකද තියෙන්නේ කියන එක අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා හොයා බලා ගන්න ඕන. වැදගත්ම දෙයක් තියෙනවා මොකද ගර්භණී මාතාවන්ට සහ විශේෂයෙන්ම ගැහැණු දරුවන්ට හරියාකාර පෝෂණයක් ලබා දීම මගින් මේ මන්ද පෝෂණය කියන විෂම චක්‍රය අපිට එක තැනකින් කඩා ගන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ඉදිරියේදී අතුරු අයවැයක් එනවා. ඒ සහන වැඩපිළිවෙලක් කරා විශේෂයෙන් දරුවාගේ අනිත් කවර දෙයකටත් වඩා දරුවාට ගුණාත්මක ප්‍රෝටීන් ප්‍රභවයක් දෛනිකව ලැබෙනවා කියන සහතික කරන වැඩපිළිවෙල සකස් වෙන්න ඕන.
Speaking at an event in Colombo today, former ambassador to Russia Dr. Saman Veerasinghe revealed that the government had ignored Russian financial assistance to the tune of a staggering $800 million for various projects in the past. He added that Sri Lanka has also lost out on chances to purchase cheap fuel from Russia due to its foreign policy decisions. A special program organized by the Russian Embassy in Colombo and the Sri Lanka-Russia Friendship Association was held at the Colombo Foundation Institute this afternoon with the aim of strengthening Sri Lanka-Russia relations.
රුසියාවෙන් ඉතා විශාල ප්‍රමාණයේ ආවා යෝජනාවල් ලංකාවට. ඒ යෝජනා කිසි දෙයක් ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණේ නැහැ. මම තානාපති වෙලා ඉන්නකොට මට මතකයි 18ක් ද්විපාර්ශ්වික ගිවිසුම් අත්සන් කළා. ඩොලර් මිලියන 800ක් ජනාධිපති පුටින් ලබා දුන්නා. කෘෂි කර්මයේ නොයෙකුත් දේවල් වලට. එක රුපියලක් ලංකාව පාවිච්චි කරේ නැහැ. මේ ඩොලර් මිලියන 800 අවුරුදු දෙකක් පුරා ඒ රටේ විදේශ කටයුතු සම්පත් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ තිබිලා අනිත් පැත්තට ගත්තා. මේ රටට නොයෙකුත් ආධාර ගන්න ඉඩ තිබුණා රුසියානු සමූහාණ්ඩුවේ. නමුත් ඒ කිසිම අවස්ථාවක් අපි පාවිච්චි කළේ නැහැ. අද දක්වා පාවිච්චි කළත් නැහැ. අපි ඒ ගැන කනගාටු වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉන්දියාවෙන් අපි ගන්නවා ඩොලර් 85ට රුසියාවෙන් දෙන තෙල් ඩොලර් 135ක් වෙලා. ඇයි හේතුව අපි ක්‍රෙඩිට් එකකට ඉන්දියාවට ගෙවනවා. මේ වගේ තත්ත්වයක් අපිට ඒක කරන්න කොන්දක් පණ නැහැ. ඒකට හේතුව අපේ විදේශ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය හදලා තියෙන්නේ වෙන විදේශයක. වෙන රටවල වල විදේශ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය හදන්නේ තමන්ගේ රටේ. අපේ ඒක හදන්නේ පිට රටක.
Meanwhile, also speaking at the event, Russian Ambassador Yuri Materi recalled Russia's continued support for Sri Lanka at international fora and its position as a major export and tourism market.
I would like to stress that our friendly relations with Sri Lanka have always been based on the principle of equality, trust, non-interference, mutual respect and consideration of one another's interests. Russia has always backed Sri Lanka in all international fora, particularly in the United Nations Human Rights Council. We are trying to consistently expand trade, economic, cultural, educational, humanitarian and tourism cooperation. Russia remains one of the main importers of Ceylon tea and one of the main source of tourists coming to Sri Lanka from abroad. We are trying to actively cooperate with Sri Lanka in energy field and discussing various agreements which are now pending about our cooperation in the field of energy. The time-tested nature of the friendly Russian-Sri Lanka ties makes me confident that our contacts will continue expanding for the benefit of our peoples, despite all the troubled times. Through joint efforts, our dialogue will further contribute to the development of the bilateral collaboration between our countries.
In the meantime, Russian President Vladimir Putin has written a letter to former President Maithripala Sirisena in response to a letter sent by the former president on the 5th of June following the seizure of an Aeroflot flight. Russian Ambassador Yuri Materi met the former president yesterday where he delivered the letter. Former President Sirisena had told the Russian ambassador that he hopes to discuss the contents of the letter with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and bring about a positive response to the Russian government soon. It has been reported that the Russian ambassador has stated that the Sri Lankan fuel and fertilizer crises can be given consideration by the Russian government. However, there has been no moves by the Sri Lankan side in this regard. Meanwhile, the leaders of 9 independent parties have sent a letter to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa stating that discussions held between them and the Russian ambassador on Tuesday had revealed a failure by the government to purchase fuel from Russia. The letter has pointed out the potential for fuel purchases from Russia and have called for a discussion on the matter. In the meantime, a second shipment of essential supplies donated by Tamil Nadu to help the people of Sri Lanka through the economic crisis has departed from the Thoothukudi port in South India. In a tweet posted yesterday, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin announced that the supplies worth 677 million Indian rupees or 3 billion Sri Lankan rupees was collected for the second round of assistance for India's crisis-hit neighbour. According to Tamil Nadu's Minister of Minorities Welfare and Non-Resident Tamils Welfare, K.S. Mastan, the vessel is carrying 14,712 tons of rice, 250 tons of milk powder and 38 tons of medicines. Minister Mastan said that most supplies are being collected and stockpiled and will be sent to Sri Lanka once a request is received from the Sri Lankan government. The first shipment arrived in Sri Lanka on the 22nd of May, carrying urgent relief supplies worth over 2 billion rupees, following a decision made by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister to support Sri Lanka through its crisis. Now, Minister of Tourism and Lands Harin Fernando has offered assurances that the country's tourism industry will not face a major impact as plans have been put in place to ensure the safety of tourists in the country. Speaking at an event hosted by the Sri Lankan High Commission in the UK recently, he highlighted investment opportunities in Sri Lanka and urged UK-based entrepreneurs to enter the country and set down roots.
Sri Lanka is going through a financial crunch. Currently, we have a full issue because we have defaulted. In a state, when you have defaulted, you have a lot of bad credit facilities that will be given to you as a government. So I believe when the IMF sorts it out, and maybe by mid-July, we should be up and running, and this whole animosity that builds around Sri Lanka and the negative publicity will come down. Sri Lanka is going through a situation. But see, Australians are playing in Sri Lanka. They wouldn't have come to Sri Lanka if Sri Lanka was in danger. They have lots of security measures that they normally take. We have got a special plan in place. For all the tourist registered vehicles, they get priority fuel. So they have different fuel stations that we have identified, and they, with their passes or the travel passes, they get priority on their list. So travelers would not have a problem. So be rest assured on that. And the main food items is another issue which has been spoken about. Yes, we have limited our imports because of the dollar crisis. But trust me, the tourism industry would not suffer because we will have ways of sorting it out. Recently, we met the President, we met the Prime Minister, not only just the ministry officials, but with the stakeholders, all your local agents, all the SLITO members, the TASL members in Sri Lanka, all the guides associations, the driving associations, all of us representing met all the Prime Ministers and the Presidents and the way forward. So I'm quite confident we can rebuild this again. And what we're looking at is your winter travel. So that's about 5 months more. So don't worry, I'm just telling you, please take the bookings. Don't cancel it. I just want it to be coming because I, as a responsible minister in this government, I will be assuring you the tourists will not suffer. We have put a contingency plan, and you can speak to your local travel agents and find out the truth about these matters. Also, we have enough lands in Sri Lanka for investment. We have an island called Deddu Islands. It's an amazing project which is in Bentota. There's another project in Kalpiti where the whales are massive land that we are willing to give it out, outsource it to foreigners even. So right now there's so many people who have showed interest, and not only those, there are so many other lands in Sri Lanka, even around the coastal line, especially on Pasikuda, Batikilo, that side. So there's so much opportunity.
Now, a discussion was held between Minister of Foreign Affairs G.L. Peiris and New Zealand's Minister of Foreign Affairs Nanaia Mahuta on the sidelines of the CHOGM summit in Kigali, Rwanda yesterday. Foreign Minister Peiris briefed his Kiwi counterpart on the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, as well as on the discussions taking place with the IMF. He had also expanded on the bilateral and multilateral channels through which Sri Lanka has been receiving supplies of food, fuel and medicine, while emphasizing the importance of international support during the next few weeks. Furthermore, he also highlighted the need for assistance from New Zealand in Sri Lanka's dairy industry and agricultural industries, particularly in the sectors of supply chains and logistics. Minister Mahuta responded by agreeing to seek the possibility of support from New Zealand. Now, the final report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that has probed the Sri Lankan customs was handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa by the chairman of the Commission, Supreme Court Judge Shiran Gunaratne, at the President's house in Colombo yesterday. On the 24th of February last year, a 6-member Presidential Commission of Inquiry was appointed by the President to investigate and report on various allegations and irregularities within the Customs Department. Following consultations with customs officials, customs unions, government and private sector officials, clients and the public, the Commission prepared a final report consisting of 530 pages, along with 117 recommendations. The report includes recommendations on how the corporate, administrative and operational processes of Sri Lanka Customs can be effectively and efficiently carried out in the discharging of their responsibilities. The President has instructed that the report be referred to Parliament as early as possible. Sri Lankan stocks closed higher for a third straight session today, with buying interest in some banking shares. However, the market witnessed its worst foreign outflow in 3 weeks. Foreign investors sold a net 163 million rupees worth of shares, its worst since 2nd of June, where the market witnessed a total foreign outflow of more than 1.2 billion rupees so far this year. The main all-share price index closed 0.58% or 43.94 points higher at 7,556.09. Further, the more liquid S&P SL20 index gained 0.9% or 21.63 points to 2,431.44 points. Turnover was 1.1 billion rupees, the highest since the 17th of June, but still less than a third of this year's daily average turnover of 3.53 billion rupees. The market has so far lost 6.7% in June after gaining 6% in May. Further, it lost 23% in April, followed by a 14.5% fall in March. Now, a new multisectoral cooperation initiative labeled the Beijing Initiative has been launched at the BRICS Business Forum that will look to enhance trade and assistance between member states. Through the new initiative, BRICS countries will be expected to support a multilateral trading mechanism that is open, transparent, fair, inclusive, impartial, and based on regulations to ensure fair competition, and one that avoids unilateralism. The BRICS Business Forum, which kicked off yesterday, has issued what has been labelled the Beijing Initiative, which involves consensus in 6 areas, namely expanding cooperation in health and sanitation, adhering to the principle of openness, promoting global sustainable development, embracing digital economy, strengthening industrial and supply chain resilience, and enhancing business cooperation. On pandemic-related cooperation, the initiative has called on BRICS countries to enhance cooperation in test methods, treatment, research and development, vaccine production and mutual recognition, while calling for more exchanges of medical supplies, food and other essential goods. Further, as part of its plan to contribute to world economic recovery, BRICS countries will be expected to support a multilateral trading mechanism that is open, transparent, fair, inclusive, partial and based on regulations to ensure fair competition. This will also include an avoidance of unilateralism and protectionism. Speaking at the forum, head of the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, Ren Hongbin, outlined plans to step up trade and investment liberalization, deepen communication in e-commerce, intellectual property, service, trade, small, medium and micro enterprises, and economic technologies. This would, he explained, help countries realize a goal of fostering high-quality BRICS partnerships and usher in a new era for global development. And that's all the news we have for you tonight. We hope you join us again tomorrow at the same time. Good night.